Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right. Hello. Welcome to Cashflows. I'm Cash Matthews. I'm your host today for this incredible show. And we're excited to have you here. This show is based on the premise of fire, aim, ready. And we talk to entrepreneurs and family people and business people and, just people going through life. And sometimes we all have this tendency to maybe get stuck. And I think one of the great things that we can do is copy off of other people who have gone before us and blazed a trail. And so we do that. We bring in people from the local economy who are actually doing something relevant, significant. They have faced their fears and they're putting one foot in front of the other. And we call that show Cashflows. And so we are excited about that today. Our philosophy, as we mentioned, fire, aim, ready. And it is for those people who are just trying to take the next step in business, life, relationships, finances, philanthropy, whatever your deal is. We want to put some people in front of you that you can copy off of and make progress. And with that, I'd like to introduce one of the guys who's made the most progress, Mr. Kenneth B.O.N.G. Kenneth, good morning.
Good morning. How's it going?
All-time high.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm at an all-time high.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to lie. Things are good. The show's going great. We're up to 7 listeners. And
up to 7. That's more than 6.
Well, I'm counting the 3 of us in that number also.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But things are going well.
And like our wives are probably another 2.
I only have one. I don't know where
right.
you're.
No. That's.
I don't know where you're going.
I have one. You have one.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
How we
There's
get
the
plural.
plurality in it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I took that the wrong way. My bad.
Yeah. Carol, take note. I only have one.
All right. Anyway, thanks for putting this show on with us, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Doing some great work here.
Oh man, it's so much fun, and I love how we're through this show helping entrepreneurs around their community and just really kind of taking care of people that way. So our Tulsa B.O.N.G group, it kind of helps sponsor this. We're going to be hosting the podcast on their page.
As we are, yeah.
We're featuring cool people from the group here on the page. Welcome to our show. And
I'm here too.
Yeah, and Cash is here too. Yeah, so so we're all here. But I know we're trying to do some daily nuggets of wisdom, some daily wisdom to help entrepreneurs, young and old, new and seasoned, whatever it may be, any mix of the above, right, to help them out. What do we want to talk about today? I'm thinking maybe you've got 3 or 4 kind of tips, things that we can do to recognize being ready.
Well, I think that's actually, our last person talked about get ready, go do your thing.
Yeah.
And I agree with that. And I've always been told you got to be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
And, for a little bit when I was an immature business person, I believed that, you got to be in the right place at the right time, as though opportunity jumps up and wraps itself around you and just won't leave you alone. Mm-hmm. And there may be some wisdom in that, opportunity presents itself to you. But unfortunately, it's usually dressed up in overalls and disguised as hard work.
Yeah. And
not everybody recognizes that. They may look at it and go, oh, that just looks too hard. But in relation to the value, maybe it was the opportunity of a lifetime. And I know growing up the way that I grew up, I got to see lots of people have lots of opportunities. And later in life, people say, how did one person make it and the other person not make it? The Bible tells us, show me a person skilled in their work, and they will serve before kings and queens and not the obscure man. So lest we think I'm being critical of those who didn't make it, I'm just acknowledging that some people work themselves into obscurity. They never take that next step. And so that's a concept called right place, right time. And I've heard that all my life. You got to be in the right place at the right time. And, I can't imagine, I was waiting tables one night. I waited on a dude. I was in the right place at the right time, as were all the other waiters. But you also had to be the right person, as it turns out. And you had to take the right action. Being in the right place at the right time means nothing if you're not the right person. Now, fortunately for me, at the age of 20, I waited on a guy. He said, hey, here's an opportunity. And I looked at it as the greatest thing I'd ever seen. All the other waiters in the restaurant kind of looked at it as well, and some got involved. But before the year was over, they were all gone. They were in the right place at the right time. They just, at that moment, weren't the right people. And it doesn't mean they didn't go on to do great things. That's not the point. But for that particular opportunity, for me, right place, right time. And here's the lesson. I had to become the right person. Was I the right person that night?
Maybe.
I was right enough to go, this is pretty interesting. Took me 7 years to become the right person.
Wow.
And that was from a moment of going, wow, this is a thing. I see people doing it. I see people worse than me doing it. What an evaluation. I mean, that's when your ego really starts to kick in. There's somebody worse than me doing it.
Yeah.
And you got to become the right person. And then you apply the right action. And without all 4 of those simultaneously happening, your chances are decreased. But when you are in the right place at the right time, I mean, let's agree, right now is not the time to get into the 8-track stereo tape business.
Probably not.
Or the horse and buggy industry of 1914, whenever that was doing so well. And right place is right time is the horse and buggy industry, but the automotive industry came out. And people looked at that and went, no way. 1938, the president of IBM, because you know what they were in 1938, right? Meat scales.
Oh, wow.
And they started working on computers even that far back then. And when the IBM president saw the first computer, he said, I don't believe that there will ever be a need for more than 3 or 4 of these devices in the whole country. And I bet you there's 10 in this room.
That's right. That's
and
right.
Right place, right time. Had to become the right person. And so my challenge to people listening to the show today is you have to evaluate, are you in the right place at the right time? You may be in the wrong industry. Had a buddy that was in the hand-carved Croatian wooden photo album business in the early 80s.
Right.
I mean, how lucrative does that look?
Yeah.
Is that the right place at the right time? I don't think so. But it looked good for a minute. I mean, and he did sell 500 of them in his garage sale the following year because he didn't sell one through the business.
Wow.
So you got to be in the right place at the right time, Kenneth, and you got to work to become the right person. And that's a whole nother podcast on being the right person, the educational side of it. But then you have to take the right action, and the right action cures everything. Action cures everything. That's our motto for the day. And with that, you want to get on with the show?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, action cures everything, but so do people. And we have somebody here that I am just enamored with, who is somebody I had been recommended to get to know, but you know how life gets busy.
Oh, yeah.
And you just kind of stay away from those people that you really need to meet for no apparent reason. And I'd been recommended to meet Amanda Grace a while back, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get around to it. And my buddy said, why don't you get a square to it? And I'm like, I don't know how all this works, but we finally got to meet.
Yes.
And we really got to hang out first at the giving breakfast.
Yeah.
I think we had some good time there.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun
yeah.
to just go and do something like that together.
For sure.
And a third of the people in the room I didn't know, but yet we were there doing this common thing with each other. And when lots of common people do common things, uncommon things happen as a result.
Right.
We had an uncommon result.
We did.
And for me, with the people in that room, that was a bonding experience.
It sure was,
to be able to go in and, kind of overwhelm somebody.
Agree. She was definitely overwhelmed.
Well, she seemed underwhelmed. That's how I knew she was overwhelmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I had lots of experience with females being underwhelmed in my life at that point. There we go. That's what I needed. That's our validation board over there.
I love that.
Anyway, we are here with Amanda Grace today. Amanda, thank you for being here on the Cashflows podcast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're going to, and our studio audience is vast.
So vast.
Amanda is with Project Hope Worldwide. You can find her at all the W's, projecthopeworldwide.org. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her on the Instagram. You can find her on LinkedIn. And she has a wicked awesome MySpace. So you can find her out there and on Napster.
Righteous, dude.
Yeah, totally righteous, man. Anyway, we're glad you're here. And
I'm glad I'm here.
so we want to talk first about how we met kind of through this thing called the Bong.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
you knew about it for a little while.
I did know about it for a little while. I kind of sat back and watched.
Do you know
and-
that's the number one thing people say when they sit in that
That's
chair?
right. That's right.
All the lurkers are coming out to do podcasts.
love it.
I was a lurker.
Yeah.
And here I am.
And here you are. And now we're friends. We've done things
we are.
together.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you would just take a minute and talk about like how you visualize the Bong Group and
yeah.
what it looked like and what you're doing now and the stuff that's going on. Talk about the B.O.N.G group for us.
Okay, so the B.O.N.G for me, like I said, I just sat back and watched for quite a while and saw all the engagement, all the friendships that came out of that, and as a natural result, a business that came out of it for people. But also, when I decided to jump in, I feel like B.O.N.G is kind of one of those things. Yeah, you can show up every once in a while, but if you really, really, really want to get to know people, which is what makes me real tick.
That's your fuel.
It is my fuel.
Yeah.
It's what makes me go every day. I was super, I'm not going to lie. During 2020, when I had to stay at home for weeks at a time, I thought I was going to die because there were just, I love my family, but there were no other people to talk to. So it fuels me to be around people.
Right.
So coming to B.O.N.G events, which is what we are, it's all events. I leave so energized every time. I meet new people every time. I leave every event with new meetings on my calendar every single time. It never fails. I leave with at least 5, probably 10 meetings with new people every single time. And the only reason I don't have more than that is because I talk a lot and I can't make my way around the entire room to everyone that I would like to have meetings with. So,
well, this is a small room, but it's not a confessional.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I mean, your energy is infectious, obviously. What do you call everybody? Hey, friend?
I call everybody friend. I yell, hey, friend. If I'm at Walmart and I see you and I can't get to you, I'm going to yell across Walmart, friend. So, yes, I yell, hey, friend to everyone.
I mean, that's sort of the essence of what the B.O.N.G
It is. It's a bunch of friends. Mm-hmm.
And you know what has been authored in that group is this. I mean, that we are friends with each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, all these little subgroups start to pop up, and you've been around, what, 3 months, 2 months?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
November?
It's November, December, January. I don't know how to count. I'm over here counting on my fingers. This is my new Common Core math. I'm 8. Sorry, I lost track there. But, I mean, in a couple of months, I mean, you've done, how many appointments have you done?
Oh, my gosh.
And I don't even like, the word appointment's terrible. But how many visits have you had with new friends from the B.O.N.G group?
I would say close to 20. And that's considering the fact that we had Christmas break.
Right.
I went out of town for that. I also, that Christmas break is not a short break, so I didn't come back to work until January had already started. So even within that little bit of time, I've met with a lot of people in B.O.N.G, and they're my friends now. Truly, they're my friends.
Somebody asked me about you the other day, and they're like, who is she? And I'm like, well, I met her through Kyle and this, and then like we connected, and it's like I've known her for 40 years, one of those. Yeah. But their comment was like, she kind of like came through the B.O.N.G like a train. And I'm like, yeah. And, you know, so there are people that don't like the B.O.N.G and they say dumb stuff about us, like, oh, it's a clique.
Yeah.
Like, well, how did Amanda Grace fit in? Like, she came in and now everybody knows her and she's friends with everybody.
Yeah.
And maybe it is, but just join. Like, that's the only way through.
I will say my experience so far has been that it's not a clique. Everybody wants to be friends with everybody.
Yeah.
It truly is. The people who are there that you see often interacting on the page, everybody wants to be friends. No, there's no clique that I didn't feel like I couldn't get into.
Yeah, I never understood that.
Right.
I'm like, look, if you see a group, but it's also a great place to create your own group. So the B.O.N.G is a group. But, you know, as this thing goes through time, you'll have your favorite realtor, your favorite house cleaner, your favorite plumber, your favorite videographer and podcast guy.
Not to mention their names.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just been a nice place. And when we have somebody new come in like a train.
Yeah.
Or come through like a train, I think is what they said. And I'm not going to tell you
That's
who
funny.
said that. Yeah. But we've had a few people in the last month or so.
Yeah.
They just came in and, I don't know, I think the best thing you can do is be yourself around people.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And when I go to someone's house and they're like, make yourself at home. I'm going to the fridge.
Okay.
Deal.
Yeah.
Deal. Where's the coffee maker?
I'm taking my shoes off, putting my feet up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's a compliment that you pay to our group to come in and be Amanda Grace.
Well, thank you.
And we're very, very glad you're here. We love the project you're involved with. We want to hear more about that.
Absolutely.
But we want to hear more about you first because people do business with people.
Absolutely.
They give to people that, they relate to people, not business. That's why we don't let businesses join the group.
Right.
I don't know if, you can't take Best Buy to lunch, but you can take people to lunch.
Right.
So I would just give me an overarching Amanda Gray story. Who are you? Where are you from? What's your deal, man?
Okay, my deal, man, is I am originally from North Carolina. I grew up in Charlotte. I then moved to Dallas, what was supposed to be temporarily, and met my husband in Dallas. So ended up being there for 8 years. Oh. And my husband is originally, I say initially, I mean, he was born in Oklahoma. So we ended up back here in Oklahoma to be closer to his family. And that's how I landed in Oklahoma. I have 2 kids. I have Jax and Jillian. We call them Jax and Jill.
All right, everybody make a note of that. Jax and Jillian.
Jax and Jillian.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So they're at really fun ages right now. Jax is just a fresh teenager, so I've got a 13-year-old in the house, and then Jillian is 10. They were both born in Texas, so Jax loves that he has bragging rights that he's a Texan. It's a big thing for him. And we have 2 dogs. We have a brand new puppy. His name is Finn, and he's a little chomper right now. And then we have Nova, who is a husky, and she talks almost as much as I do. So I love it here in Oklahoma. I love that we landed here. We've got pretty deep roots here. So that's a very quick version of my story. But
right. So you got here basically because of family.
Because of family.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the best stories when people say we moved to be near family. Mm-hmm. And it illustrates our desire to be around those people that we love and care about.
Absolutely.
And I think that family, we moved here on a whim.
Yeah.
But we created a family in this B.O.N.G idea because people that we enjoy being around. Mm-hmm. And we were tired of Austin. I don't want my story to be in your podcast necessarily, but
sure.
The concept of you moving here for family to me is beautiful.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of people that make up. This is a wonderful community.
It sure is.
And it's a wonderful country as well. And I love it. I love this country. I love this city. Mm-hmm. And I mean, how weird is this? We're sitting here talking about your business on a podcast that's going to go out to millions.
Right.
Or 10 people.
Or 10 million.
Or 10 million.
Or 10 million.
We have no idea. Hey, if it wouldn't be a problem, if one of you have 10 million friends, if you could, maybe send this out.
Yeah.
Like
there you go.
That'd be kind of, okay. So, we were looking through your bio, because I'm still trying to get to know you.
Sure, of course.
And the you that I know is exceptional.
Thank you.
But, we all have that other side.
Oh, yeah.
And if we need to compare notes, we will. But I was told to ask you what's your most embarrassing story, because I've got about 10. I'm not I'm not going into any of them. And so we want detail.
Okay. So one of my most recent embarrassing stories is it's pretty incredible. I was just in Nashville not too long ago with my best friend. We were there for an event. We were at this event. And we're in Nashville, so we assume you might see somebody famous, right?
Right.
Well, I don't know a lot of famous people. I don't keep up with famous people. I don't watch the news. I don't keep up with current events. So we're at this event. My best friend is talking to this guy, and they're in this whole deep conversation about whiskey and good whiskey. Well, I also don't drink whiskey. And
okay.
So it's fine, but I don't know anything about that either. So she's talking to him about it. He turns and asks me, because I'm with her, if I had ever had a certain kind of whiskey. And I was like, no, but I'll try it and let you know how it is. And me and my regular networking self goes, how can I find you to let you know how it is? Can I friend you on LinkedIn? Because that's my networking go-to. Can I friend you on LinkedIn or connect with you on LinkedIn? My best friend then throws a look at me that I did not understand what it meant. But apparently I was talking to the star on the Nashville show, and I didn't know it was him. And I asked him for his LinkedIn, like he's a regular person and has a LinkedIn, because his response to me was, well, you can't find me on LinkedIn, but I'm pretty easy to find on Instagram. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I'll find you on Instagram and shoot you a message. Like, no big deal. I'll find you and send you a message. And then I asked him what his name is. Like, he is just somebody I just met in the B.O.N.G group. Like, regular Joe Schmo. I have no idea who you are. So anyways, that was a super embarrassing moment for me after the fact, because I did not know I was talking to someone famous and just asked him for his LinkedIn like he was a regular.
That is awesome,
Joe.
But
I think it's great.
I bet he appreciated that.
I'm sure he did.
Because you're being friends with him, and the fame isn't the attraction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's how I treat everyone.
Right.
I mean, truly, even I have met other famous people that I knew were famous, and I'm going to talk to you like you're my best friend, just like I would anybody else in the B.O.N.G.
We should do a show on embarrassing moments, because I could easily fill an hour.
Yeah. I'm thinking we have a good 12 hours between us. So
I could light that one up. I think I found my calling maybe is do a podcast on embarrassing moments about myself. I've got a few. So are we allowed to say who the person was? Or I don't watch television also, so I'm not going to know.
It's Charles Eston is his name. Again, hey, if Charles see this, hey friend, but I did not know who he was. And it's not anything personal. I just didn't know who he was. And we had a nice little conversation. And then at the event that he was at, he was actually like the honoree. They were giving him an award. He played and sang a song. So he was there for a reason to be recognized that night at that event.
And you are just treating him like Joe Schmo.
Yeah.
And I bet he remembered that more than almost any part of the night.
I sure hope he did. I was like, hey, when you see Amanda Grace, you just remember who I am.
I bet you he's on a show podcast right now going, hey, what's your most embarrassing moment?
He's like, well, this one
I'm at
time.
this thing. I'm kind of big dogging it. And
My
this lady
face is on the wall, 12-foot high.
And she has no idea who I am.
Nope.
That is awesome.
Yeah. It was great.
I played golf with Kenny Rogers, the singer.
Oh, my gosh.
18 holes, had no idea it was him.
Oh, my gosh.
Until the following day.
Really?
Yeah. It was.
Wow.
My buddy introduced me, like on the first tee. He called me and goes, hey, I got a buddy coming in. Why don't you come play golf with us? I did. I get there and he goes, hey, don't say anything about him being well known. And I'm like, I'm here to play golf, dude.
Right.
And he kept calling him James all day. And I'm like, hey, James, good to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
And we're playing. We get done. I'm at the club the next day.
Yeah.
And the pro's like, hey, man, you ain't going to believe this. And she's talking to a lady. Kenny Rogers was here. And she's like, oh, I love Kenny Rogers. And I'm like, Kenny Rogers was here? I've always wanted to meet him. Who did he play with? And Eric goes,
oh, that's so great.
Really? He played with you? I'm like, no, that was James and my buddy Patrick. And he goes, no, that's who you played with.
Yeah.
And I'm on the phone like, Patrick, who did I play golf with? And he goes, oh, that's my friend James Kenneth Rogers.
Oh, my gosh.
I had questions.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah.
That's so great.
Some of those people live a very different life than me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had flown Kenny Rogers in to sing happy birthday to his wife.
Oh, my gracious.
Because, I do that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
Of course you do.
Who doesn't bring in an internationally acclaimed Grammy-winning artist to sing happy birthday to their wife? Like, I'm all in for that.
That's impressive.
Well, that's pretty good. All right, well, let's talk about the thing we want to talk about.
Sure, of course.
That has an impact. Yeah. I want to find out how you got into the nonprofit world.
Okay, so I initially didn't know very much about nonprofit, what nonprofits were, what they do, who they are, why they're essential. But when I first moved to Tulsa area here in Oklahoma, I was a stay-at-home mom. I stayed home with my kids until they were both in school. And I just wanted to find a way for us to get involved in the community. We only knew, while we did move to be closer to family, our family still isn't here in the Tulsa region. They're in Oklahoma. So we knew one other couple. Our kids' godparents live here. And I just wanted to find something for us to do to make ourselves busy, number one, but also get involved in the community. And the very first thing that we did and that we found something that I could do with my kids being small was serve with Meals on Wheels. So we started serving Meals on Wheels, and my kids absolutely loved that. We did that up until the time that they started school. And once they started school, my mom was a PTA mom all of my childhood. Bless her heart. I don't know how she survived that.
Right.
But I decided I'm going to be a PTA mom too.
Okay.
So I jumped into PTA in all the ways that I could. I even served on the state level for a little while. Learned a lot about nonprofit through PTA and fundraising and all the things nonprofit. And then through that, also ended up serving on our public school foundation in Broken Arrow and helping start their gala there, raising all kinds of money for Broken Arrow Public Schools. And
I've heard this story, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah, this is awesome.
It's pretty exciting to me for sure, because it's definitely it made a massive impact, and I'm just so proud of it. But after doing that, Broken Arrow Public Schools saw the response from the community and decided we need somebody doing this full time. So
you started as a volunteer on the fundraising side at the gala?
I started as a volunteer on the fundraising side. So I basically did all of that as a volunteer for 2 years in a row. I ran the gala. And then like I said, we raised a lot of money for Broken Arrow Schools. Broken Arrow Schools decided to create a position for a development person to raise money, make partnerships within the community with businesses for Broken Arrow Schools. I ended up doing that and raising close to $500,000 for Broken Arrow Schools in 3.5 years. And COVID was right smack in the middle of all of that.
So you raised $500,000 for the local school?
Very close.
Winner.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So it's definitely, we created a lot of new programs that serve severely underserved children through all of that. It was a really incredible thing. So that's how I got into the nonprofit world, was just volunteering, wanted to be a part of my community, and ended up so much a part of our community that I don't know how I could live anywhere else. We have when I say we have deep roots here, it's because of the relationships that are here, right? Like, I feel like you do. This is my family now.
Yeah.
I still love my family. They are also my family, but friendships become family members as well. So we have...
I heard the word chosen family the other
Chosen
day.
family, absolutely.
I enjoyed that word.
Yeah.
So you know what, Kenneth? Let's talk about our chosen family in the world of advertising. Let's take a quick break and say thank you to the sponsors that are presenting us today.
Sure thing.
Thank you.
So in our list of chosen family members, we are choosing to be here at Elevate Coworking in the wonderful podcast space. Elevate Coworking is where local business owners connect, collaborate, and grow. We offer a community of tools and resources to fuel your passion and your productivity. Elevate your future with us, where success is not just achieved, but celebrated together.
All right. Thank you for that. We are here with Amanda Grace, and she represents ProjectHopeWorldwide.org, www.ProjectHopeWorldwide.org. You can find Amanda Grace on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, MySpace, Napster, and Limelight. LimeWire, sorry.
Yeah.
And Nintendo.
Sure. Also Nintendo.
A big part of the Nintendo network.
Wow.
I don't know. That was like my only real exposure to tech.
Fair enough.
A lot of people play games. I played Nintendo, and then I realized I liked living indoors more than I liked video games. And kind of had to give it up. I miss it. So, all right, I'm going to shut up right there. Amanda Grace, thank you for being here
Absolutely.
today. You're doing great, and we love. We want to hear about Project Hope Worldwide, but why? Let's talk about philanthropy in general.
Absolutely.
Because you've raised almost $500,000 for the Broken Arrow school system.
Yeah.
They just ask for a volunteer, and you're like, yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I mean, and you did that.
I did.
Yeah, that's kind of a big deal.
It is. It is.
And there's a whole story in there I'd like to tell, but we don't have the time today. But I mean, if you start to think about that kind of contribution from one person who says, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because the world is often asking, hey, does somebody want to do anything?
Sure.
And it can be in many opportunities, but you just stepped up and said, you're the one that raised your hand. Yeah. Me? I'll do that.
Uh-huh.
And you killed it. Like, you did great.
Thanks. I definitely am super proud of that. I wanted to do that so incredibly bad. I am very proud of what I was able to start, and that it's continued, and that it's still incredibly successful for Broken Arrow Schools.
And that money went into education.
It sure did, straight into the classrooms.
And you can never underestimate the power of education, because it goes on well beyond your lifetime.
Yeah.
When you help somebody rise up, and
sure does.
God bless you for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm I'm a little envious. Like, I want to do something.
Yeah.
Like,
I hear you.
What'd you do, Cash? I ate paste. I organized my sock drawer. Like, anyway.
Stuck a pencil in the ceiling.
Yeah, I've done some dumb stuff. So I want to hear about Project Hope Worldwide, because we've spoken about this.
Yeah.
And I've read what I could. I don't want to say I'm impressed. I mean, the world is hurting in areas. The world needs us. Broken Arrow Schools needed us, and you stepped up.
Yeah.
This opportunity was presented to you, and you stepped up, and now you are literally all over the world changing lives. Talk about Project Hope Worldwide.
Absolutely. So I am so incredibly proud to be a part of this organization. We serve kids in Nicaragua, Uganda, and Mexico. And the children that we serve are orphaned and vulnerable. And when you say, what is an orphaned and vulnerable child? In the U.S., we definitely think of kids who are in foster care, which is true. They are orphaned and or vulnerable. But the level of vulnerability in these other countries that we're looking at is completely different than what we see in the U.S.
Is that because of oversight? I mean, is there somebody looking after these kids?
It's a lot of times, no. Sometimes there is a parent or a relative who is looking after the kid, but looking after, by our definition of looking after, is a little bit different, right?
Right.
So we have facilities in Nicaragua and Mexico where kids come to. They know it's a safe place. We feed them 3 meals a day. We have teachers on staff. They basically do school with them, either all over again or help them with their schoolwork that they have after they come to us after school.
Right.
We also help with their healthcare needs. We make sure they go to the doctors, that they're taken care of health-wise as well. A lot of kids come to us severely malnourished, or just with major health issues, and we make sure those are taken care of. We also, like I said, education is a part of it, but we also have a mentorship aspect that's wrapped into our organization. So a lot of our staff members, we hire all locally, and a lot of our staff members have been exactly where our kids are. They've had some of the same experiences, some of the same trauma. So they are able to relate to these kids in a way that we in the U.S. would never be able to. And they're able to mentor them and help them change their mindset, not their culture, but their mindset, and show them that, these are things you can do to be a successful adult. And we do have opportunity for immediate impact, but we also heavily focus on long-term impact as well, because we want the children that we care for today to be successful adults tomorrow. We want them to not have to fight the same cycle of generational poverty that their parents and their parents and their parents have fought. So we want to break those cycles. So that's what we're also working towards.
People can hear more about the story at projecthopeworldwide.org.
Yes.
And we would encourage you to go take a look. Now, this is a donor-based organization.
It sure is. We're 100% dependent on people to support us. We are funded privately, completely. And we also have the opportunity for people to sponsor children, so that 100% of those funds does go to sponsor those kids' needs.
Can talk about that a little bit. What does the sponsorship look like? What does it cost? I've seen some of these before where the people get to communicate with the child.
Yes.
Tell me about the whole loop of how we sponsor a child.
Okay. So to sponsor a child and holistically provide for every single one of their needs per month, it costs $225 per kid to care for them. We have that split up, though, because not every person can afford $225 a month.
Right.
So you can sponsor them for whatever it is that you can afford, but we split it into $45 increments. And we even have teenagers who give less than that, right? Some teenagers can, because they work whatever jobs that they do, they can give $45 a month, but some people give $10 or $15 a month.
Right. Those
needs, and like I said, 100% of that money goes to support the kids' need that they've signed up to sponsor.
Right.
If you do, one kid may have one sole sponsor that does $225 a month, but one kid may also have 5 different sponsors that do different
$50
amounts.
a piece or something.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and this sounds awful.
That's
Can
okay.
Can you go on and find the kid that you want to sponsor?
You sure can.
That just sounds weird to me now that I say it out loud. I'm sorry that I thought it.
No, it doesn't sound weird. It's definitely it because we're in the U.S., right? Like it definitely it can be a little bit. It can feel weird to people because you're looking through kids that you don't know, right? Deciding who you want to sponsor. So yes, you can go through, choose what kid you would like to sponsor, or you can choose greatest need is what we call it. So you can say what country you would like to send your support to and just say wherever the greatest need is. And basically what that would look like is whatever kid has the greatest needs there, that's what that money is going to go to, or whatever the greatest need is at that specific project that is related to the kids, that's what those funds will go to. So if you don't want to necessarily choose a child, then you can just say, I want to sponsor a kid in Uganda, and here's the money that I want to go there. So you can definitely do it that way. You can write letters to your kid. It goes through us, and then your kid will also write you letters back. So it's pretty incredible that you can communicate with the child that you sign up to sponsor, should you do so. You can send gifts. Every Christmas, we just finished a whole Christmas campaign. You can send like $25, and that pays for a Christmas gift for them, but also helps fund a Christmas party for all the kids as well. And we do that throughout the year. It's not just Christmas. There's different opportunities for you to send a gift to the kid that you sponsor.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, we have it so great here in this country.
We sure do.
And, we're always looking for people.
Yeah.
And you know what I have found in Tulsa? There are a lot of kind people that want to share their toys.
Yeah.
And if you're one of those people that are compelled by the story you're hearing here, please find Amanda Grace on www.projecthopeworldwide.org.
Yep.
So that we can make some of those dreams come true.
Absolutely.
So on a daily basis, you do all kinds of work.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I know this is technically some kind of work for you, but it's not.
Right. It's not.
What's the most important thing to you on a daily basis that you go through?
The most important thing to me is really just spreading the word about the work that we do, the kids that we're helping, the needs that we see, that their needs never stop. Their needs continue no matter what it is that I choose to do with my day, right? I can choose to make the most of it and continue to spread the word about Project Hope and know that the right person, the right time, the right place is going to hear that message, and it's going to tug at their heart, and they're going to know that that's what they're being called to do, is to help a child that we serve, right? So what I want to be intentional about on a daily basis is making sure that I never stop telling their story, because I'm speaking. They're not completely voiceless in their own country. They are voiceless here. So I'm speaking for kids who can't be spoken for here. People here in the U.S. have no idea just how good we have it and the needs that exist in other places all over the world. We have clean water. You make that point all the time, right?
We flush our poop with clean water.
With clean water.
And they're over there, and you go over in many of those places and say, fill in the blank, water is, and they'll say life.
Yeah.
Water is life, and we take so many things for granted.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that need us. What, do they know what America is?
Yeah. They do. So they do know, but I am so curious. My thought coming back, because I went to Nicaragua in August and I'm going to Uganda February 1st. So my thought coming back from Nicaragua, I had never even been on a missions trip or been to a place like Nicaragua at all, especially where our project is. So my thought when I came back was, how would these kids feel coming to the U.S.?
Right.
I know I would feel like I was on a completely different planet.
Right.
We're so rich.
Oh, my goodness,
We have so much. Yeah. We have so much food waste.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the things that we waste, they would be so incredibly grateful to have.
Right.
It's incredible. This is maybe a horrible comparison, but it is reality. When we think of dumpster divers here in the U.S., it's gross, right? But what are they getting out of those dumpsters, right? They're probably getting not bad stuff when you think about the reality of actual kids in Nicaragua that I saw. I saw where they came from. They were digging through a trash dump for food, for clothes. And our dumpsters and their trash dump are worlds apart. We're talking animal carcasses that have little to nothing on them is what they're finding for food versus what the grocery store threw out because it's expired. Right?
And for our podcast listeners, those were air quotes right there.
Right.
Expired.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a podcast,
Yeah.
but I did use air quotes.
No, that's
It's true, but that's the drastic difference in reality when you consider what these kids have to go through to just make it, to live.
Yeah, and I mean just the challenge to stay alive.
Yeah.
And we have, our poor people over here have electricity and running water and air conditioning and, some access to food and medical care. And, this is a compelling story.
Yeah.
And we sure want to know more at the B.O.N.G group as we grow.
Absolutely.
We want to make sure that we're doing the right thing.
Sure.
Just in our community, with our assets.
Yeah.
And our assets can be time, and it can be money, and
Absolutely.
it can be help. And I know right now we're leading a clothing blanket drive today because it's going to be 0 degrees here.
Yeah.
Next week. So
it's about to get really cold.
But it is about locking arms with literally thousands of other people now, and saying, "Hey, let's go make a difference."
Absolutely.
Because a little bit from a lot of people, that makes a big difference.
It makes a really big difference. And really, another reality of the difference between U.S. and the kids that we're serving in the countries that we're in is how far does a dollar go here?
Yeah.
It doesn't go very far, but a dollar goes really far. It costs $25 or $45 a month to feed one kid. That's all it costs to feed one child. That's why we have our sponsorships split into $45 increments, because that's what it costs to feed one kid for 1 month is $45. $45 barely buys my family dinner, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's a good comparison. Okay, we're going to go to kind of a final question. I want to find out what you do for fun, because I know what you do to make a difference.
Yep.
And your business has to be, you want it to be successful, but you want it to be significant.
Absolutely.
And what you're doing has significance well beyond all of our lifetimes. And so thank you for doing that. What do you do for fun, though?
So what I do for fun, my very favorite thing to do is, believe it or not, as much as I love to go and do and be around a whole lot of people, the whole lot of people thing doesn't really change, but I really like to be at home with my family. We have really made our patio, our backyard, kind of like our at-home oasis. And I really just love to be there, spending time with my family. Patio time is my favorite year-round. We bring out heaters in the cold. So, and I love to have all of my friends there with us. Our house is crowded on the regular, and I love it. It's so loud and so obnoxious. I'm sure my neighbors love me because we have a driveway full of cars, a house full of children, a backyard when it's nice enough for them to run around, a bunch of kids running around screaming and yelling and all over the place. But that's really what I love. I just love, if I'm not at work being around a lot of people, I like to be at home with my people. And I like for my people, the thing is work friends also, like we said, become family. I'd love to have my family, whoever that is, in those moments at our house with us, just spending time. It really is what fuels me. It exhausts me, but fuels me also.
I like it. A life well lived is a beautiful thing.
Sure, absolutely.
And you're living your life well. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Is there a nugget you would like to give to our listeners, our entrepreneurs, something you believe in that could help people?
There sure is, and you kind of hit on this already, and I loved it. I got so excited. So being yourself, I think it is so important to just truly be intentional about being true to yourself, being your genuine self all the time, no matter who and where you're with. If I'm sitting in a boardroom full of a bunch of professionals, I'm still the same Amanda Grace, sitting right here with you right now. And at my dinner table or on my patio at home, I do not take life so seriously that I don't prioritize keeping Amanda Grace. I think there are so many expectations for people, well, if you're not professional enough, you won't be respected.
Right.
If I'm not respected by an individual because I am me, then that's okay.
Then they don't respect you. Bring it.
That's fine.
That's okay.
It's fine. It's totally, there is not a single person on this planet that every single person loves. And I'm okay not being
Wait, have you not heard of Taylor Swift?
I mean, do we dare? But that's the thing. I just think it's so important. And I learned early on, it is so important to not care and live my life based on standards that other people have for me, because I'm not being true to myself. Life's too short for that.
I think that's the most attractive thing a person can do, is just be
Absolutely.
who they are. And if you don't like it,
that's fine.
Shove off.
Yeah. You're not everybody's Chick-fil-A sauce.
You can't make everybody happy.
It's
You're
true.
not chocolate.
Nope. It's true.
So be yourself. That's all you can be, because God
Absolutely.
made you so unique. There's just one of you.
That's right.
And that's all you can possibly be.
It's true.
That is beautiful. We're here with Amanda Grace, ProjectHopeWorldwide.org. You can find Amanda Grace on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Not really so sure about the MySpace thing, but you're such a good sport. We love hanging out with you. But Kenneth, you want to wrap this up?
Sure, let's do it.
Is it a wrap?
It's a wrap.
Well, we are excited then. What a great day this has been.
It has been.
And I am thankful that those kids in Uganda and Nicaragua and Mexico have you as an advocate.
Well, thanks.
You are the voice of reason for them here.
Yeah.
And I know probably why many of them will get to actually just live.
Right.
And that is not to be underestimated. So what you do is significant. So thanks for sharing that with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It can be a crazy world out there. Imagine having that crazy world in Nicaragua.
Right.
Or Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
And, as you go through your day, and maybe today is the day for you just to roll around in gratitude. And I hope that's what you're doing.
Right.
Because we have a great city, we have a great country, and we have great visitors here on this show, and we are thankful for each and every one of you. So as we go out on our day to day, let's be nice to each other. Come on. Let's make good choices for ourselves and our family and for our health. And more importantly, today, maybe just today, let's find one person who absolutely does not deserve it, and let's forgive them anyway. Because that's the message that we all enjoy, and that's something that we've all benefited from all of our lives. And I pray that that's true for you, because forgiveness is not about the other person. It's just about you and cutting that anchor that somehow you tied to your own belt, and forgiveness is a way to cut that loose and move on to whatever's next. And to our friends out there watching the show, thank you. Kenneth, thank you very much for another wonderful show. Friends, this show is about you, and we thank you for being part of Cashflows.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cashflows.